Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Game. I am completely and utterly astonished as to how ASU played today. A lot of people could agree. While some people picked ASU and some people picked Iowa State, we all agreed that this game was going to be close and this game was going to be competitive. That was something we all felt upon agreement on. A lot of people were calling for a great game. ASU without their star receiver was questionable in the passing game, and ASU was favored, but then Iowa State got the line by 1.5 to start the day. And Iowa State had a 55% chance to win this game. And I, for one, was not a believer in ASU because I was scared. I was scared of our pass offense without Tyson. And I expected them to be able to shut down Scadaboo on the run defense because they wouldn't have to worry about too much in the air. And ultimately, Iowa State's offense hasn't been the worst thing ever this year. They've got two very good receivers on their team, as well as a pretty solid quarterback and two very big running backs. I was so wrong, and I love that I was so wrong. 19-45. Ladies and gentlemen, this game was 45-10 going into the end of the third quarter. Better yet, this game was 10-10. I thought it was going to be competitive. I thought it was going to be difficult. And ASU absolutely dominated. Absolutely dominated. And if this is the case, if Iowa State cannot, I know Iowa State doesn't have a good rush defense. They didn't. But loading up all those players, these were not just big holes being open. These were not anything special. They were actually trying to shut down the run game by putting more people in the box. It just isn't enough. Cam Scadaboo is just better. All of his breakaway runs, except for the one to open up the game, he broke off of probably 3-4 people, went through a tunnel of people, and broke out. And dude absolutely ripped this team apart. And if your football team and your player is playing like that, Cam Scadaboo is playing like that, you cannot win. You cannot win. Because the moment he just started to dominate too much on the floor, they can't do anything but put more players in the box. And then when it came down to throwing the ball, our team was there. Sam Levitt was delivering dimes. Absolute dimes. And I'll tell you what, without Jordan Tyson, I was worried, obviously. But Melquan Stovall, that 4th-and-1 play call where we decided to throw it deep, Melquan Stovall did a fabulous job. First off, great play call. Second off, fabulous play by Melquan Stovall. He went on a post route and beeline for the safety, and the safety's looking at the run play on 4th-and-1, expecting the run play to Scadaboo. They don't. And he's beelining for the safety like he's going to go block him, and he psychs, goes right behind him. Safety realizes it's too late. Wide open behind the defense. Wide open behind the defense. Catch 63 yards or something like that. That was the momentum shift. That was the momentum shift. That was the big play. Because up until that point, ASU had a solid first drive, so had to settle for 3. But Iowa State's defense was doing a great job of shutting down ASU at a lot of places. And ASU's defense was having a hard time. Once that happened, the game kind of fell apart. Now, Iowa State would go on to score, but the game kind of fell out of control by that momentum shift. ASU just took the game over. And then Xavier Guillory happened. These guys are seniors, which really sucks. Because with Jordan Tyson getting 78 catches or something like that on the year, one should really show how good Jordan Tyson is. Because he's getting targeted so much, and when he's not there, the other receivers were absolutely stepping up and playing like some of the best receivers in the country. They absolutely looked like some of the best receivers in the country. And they had to do that when Jordan Tyson was out. If Jordan Tyson is so dominant on the field that he gets that many passes that many times, you better look out for Jordan Tyson next year. But in this game, he wasn't there, and the receivers stepped up. And oh my, Xavier Guillory had a game. He didn't catch very many passes, only like 3, maybe like 2. But when he caught the passes, they were absolutely remarkable. That touchdown catch where he only caught 2 passes for 2 touchdowns. He's putting up like not necessarily a Randy Moss game on like the 150 yards and 3 catches or something like that, but 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. That's pretty damn good. And one of those was an absolutely spectacular catch. Melquan Stovall, which in my mind, I expected Melquan Stovall of all the receivers. Obviously, like, I'm the only person, or I guess, like, if you're an ASU diehard, you would be the only person to know what receiver is going to get the ball that much. I expected Stovall to get the most targets and to get the most receptions because he's just been, like, second most. It would, from statistics, look like Guillory, but in reality, I thought it would be Stovall because Guillory's the deep man most of the time. Actually, yeah, that was kind of the case the whole time. And then a guy, Malik McClain, who is a redshirt right now, like a redshirt senior, barely played, but you get to play in these championship games, comes out after not playing like all season and catches another remarkable catch. Not the best throw ever, but a remarkable catch. Turning around with a defender all over him, jumping around, making a spectacular catch. And then, of course, Cam Skattebo. Not only did he have 10 carries for 140 yards at like halftime, he also ended up like he didn't have the best second half ever. He slowed down, that's for sure. Still tacked on like 30 yards, but he had a catch for like 38 yards. He had a catch for like 30 plus yards for a touchdown. And he's doing the Heisman pose, and as much as I love Cam Skattebo, and I do think he is a worthy candidate for it right now, if you had to add a third person, or I guess like 2 more people because you kind of have to, I would put Cam Skattebo and Cam Ward in there. Those would be the 2 people I put in there. And I love the dude. He's a great running back. He's literally he's so underrated next to Ashton Jeanty right now. He is literally an absolute beast. They're just both beasts right now. Cam Skattebo, man, like absolute dog of a game. And I don't even have words. Iowa State did not show up. They did not show up. More importantly, the fumbles that the interception was on their quarterback, all right? The interception was on their quarterback. He threw it right into the helmet of his O-lineman. It flicked up, and we got an easy interception. But the two fumbles, I will say, while running backs, yes, you got to learn how to hold on to the football. Dude, they were getting obliterated when they fumbled the ball. They had like 3 people absolutely flying in like piss missiles, drilling them. I mean, if anybody was their size, holding onto that ball, getting flown into like that by a freaking ballistic missile squad, nobody's holding onto that ball, and that was the case. They were getting lit up when they fumbled the ball. They were great plays. They were getting the hand in there and punching the ball, and ultimately they were just laying the boom on the players. The fumbles were not just drops. They were not just mistakes. They were not just like not being aware and not holding onto the ball. No, they were great defensive plays. And I got to say, man, if I was anybody right now, ASU most likely is on their way to a 12 seed, which I think is disrespectful right now, while the teams ahead of them would be probably Oregon, then maybe either Texas or Georgia, and then SMU most likely. Hopefully Clemson can pull through for ASU, but most likely SMU. And then Boise State. How is ASU really going to get regarded as a 12 seed right now? How are we going to regard them as a 12 seed? Go on the road, beat Kansas State, beat BYU, kill U of A, and then kill Iowa State in the Big 12 championship. They just took out all the competition. The only competition they didn't take out was Colorado, and that's because they didn't get the opportunity to. I guarantee you if they played Colorado, they would take them out too. I mean, ASU has just been destroying season after season after season right now, and they embarrassed their rivals. And Iowa State made it to this place. They made it here, and they lost it under the same head coach. They have been under these lights. They were ready for this. And ASU, this is their first time here. They're not even in this conference. This is their first year, projected to finish last with a freshman quarterback back there. And they're dropping 45 on them. 45. And to be honest, that was at the end of the third quarter, it was 45. We had a whole nother quarter in which we could have kept our starters out there and played more and put on more points, but we didn't because the game was over. They did that in 3 quarters of football to a team that was favored against them. I mean the disrespect right now. ASU, if SMU wins, ASU will not get a top 4 spot. And it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. Because ASU after tonight's performance or today's performance deserves it. I know I said what I said about Boise State, and I do think they're a good football team, but quite frankly, they only beat UNLV by 14. And even if they were beating UNLV by a shutout, they'd only be winning 21-0. ASU's winning by more than that. They were up by a lot more than that against a much more difficult team. A much more difficult team than UNLV. No question. And ASU also, Kenny Dillingham said it in his postgame. We are 11-1 with our starting quarterback. We are 11-1. Our only loss is against Texas Tech with our starting quarterback. We lost Cincinnati because Sam Levitt had a broken rib. He didn't play. And under Jeff Sims, the passing offense was horrendous. We also had a kicker who had a giant malfunction, who showed up tonight. Or no, we got a different kicker in there now who showed up today. And, I mean, like, you look at the losses that ASU had. It was only an 8-point loss, which Iowa State also lost to Texas Tech. It was only an 8-point loss in a game that we, quite frankly, made a lot of mistakes in. And it was early. It was early in the season. Other teams have made plenty of mistakes. I know we take that loss, but account the fact that we didn't have our starting quarterback, and we do now, and we're 11-1. We're right up there with some of the best teams in the country. Literally, there's no exaggeration. We're right up there with some of the best teams in the country. Boise State, one-loss team. Yeah, it's to Oregon, but who else did they really play in their conference? I don't care if UNLV was ranked twice. UNLV is also Mountain West. I mean, you look at SMU. Who's SMU's only loss? It's a Big 12 team that's not even competing in the Big 12 championship. Like, you think BYU was tough, SMU? Play ASU. See what happens there. Yeah, see what happens there, y'all. I really hope ASU gets a top 4 spot. I'm hoping SMU shits the bed against Clemson, which I wouldn't even be surprised if Clemson wins the fucking ACC, that they would give Clemson a top 4 spot. I wouldn't even be surprised at that point. But I'm just saying, man, this domination by ASU, first year in the conference, projected to finish last, and they are killing their opponent in the Big 12 championship. I was not ready for this performance, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm so proud of this team. I'm so excited for Kenny Dillingham because you guys got to understand, Kenny Dillingham is an ASU alum. His Auburn offensive coordinator position, he said his dream job was ASU head coach. He went through plenty of other offensive coordinator jobs, and he got his opportunity when Herm Edwards decided to shit the bed and destroy the program. He jumped to the throne. This is his dream job, and look at how he has turned this team around. And he's not going anywhere. You better look out for ASU, man. You better look out for this team, and I guarantee you, even if we don't get a first-round bye, yeah, it's not an easy game. It's not going to be an easy game with ASU. ASU is just, they're playing so good everywhere. The only thing today that was relatively skeptical was the defense at the start of the game. But even then, when the defense is on, it's on. Like, it is lights out. Number 12, Robinson, our cornerback, had a fantastic game. He started to slip up in the second half, get some penalties and stuff. But, I mean, he is locking down the Iowa State, like, top receivers, dude, that are, like, also way bigger than him. I mean, you got to account, like, yeah, the Higgins guy had 115 yards, but you got to account for a lot of the stuff that came in shit time. A lot of the stuff that came in fart time when the game was already over. Like, dude was absolutely shutting down his side of the field, as well as the rest of the defense hits hard. I didn't get to see that personal foul on the quarterback where dude blitzed right in there and absolutely drilled Beck. Our freaking TV provider kept on cutting out at random points in the game, and we would have to wait like 5-10 minutes for it to turn back on. And it cut out right before we saw that. And, I mean, looking back, I really don't think that's targeting. Let me know if you think that was targeting or if you think it was obvious, because I got to see a little glimpse of it in slow motion, but I only got to see it once. I don't know if that was targeting whatsoever, quite frankly, me personally, because, like, what is he supposed to do? Like, He hit him with the helmet, but Becht also kind of threw his head down into it. I mean, when Kyler Murray got sacked by that Jets guy, got absolutely drilled in the back, got killed. Like, he got killed. That was the thing. And he hit him with he leaned in with his helmet. It's just the fact that he didn't hit him with his helmet. He hit him in the back. The only difference here was Becht was relatively, he turned to look in his direction. He turned to look in his direction and boom, got drilled. He didn't even see him coming. Got drilled. And they called that targeting, which, yeah, it was all right, whatever. It was in fart time. It gave him a first down. Okay. The game was already over. But I just got to say, man, that was a brutal, vicious penalty. That player's ejected, and he's going to miss the first half of whatever game we play. That is bullshit. I hate the targeting rules because there's been too many targeting calls this season that have been wrong and agreed upon. I mean, you guys can let me know if you agree or not. Again, this is one I'm a little, I think it wasn't, and I'll say it wasn't, but at least this one could be if you're talking, we're playing pussy ball, okay, it's understandable. But there have been other ones this season that have been no question, no targeting. Even ones for ASU, no question, no targeting. And they call it targeting. And I'm so sick and tired of this penalty. It's ruining the game. You want to get paid to play football. You want to get paid now. Play football. Be a starter. Guess what? You got to own this fucking problem of getting hit in the head. Now, it's obvious if you're leaning in and you're going straight for the helmet, there's obvious circumstances. But as an officiating crew, we have to turn down the pussy meter. These are football players. Let's lock in a little bit. It's a little stupid that we're calling targeting every single game, and players have to sit out and get ejected for making tackles from, quite frankly, the way they're taught to make tackles. But whatever. ASU was already up huge at that point. That's just a shitty loss for the next game because he's a great player. I like that guy. He made some great tackles in that game. And he hits really hard. The whole ASU defense hits really hard. They hit with passion. And, I mean, ASU, once we got into our element, once we got that momentum, dude, it was wraps. It was literally wraps. It was 10-10. All of a sudden, it was 45-10. It was wraps. It was game over. 3 turnovers definitely helped us out with that. But, again, 2 of those were forced. 2 of those were forced fumbles. They weren't mistakes. They weren't backward passes that got dropped. They weren't snaps that were fumbled. No, they were forced fumbles on big-ass running backs too, dude. Those running backs back there are huge, and we were forcing those. I'm so proud of ASU. Let me know what you guys think. I'm kind of disappointed in myself I didn't pick them, but again, I picked ASU so many times last year. I picked ASU over Oregon last year because I have a lot of confidence in my team. But quite frankly, I have a lot of confidence because I only watch ASU most of the time. I watch other games and stuff, but I don't really watch I won't watch number 14. I will just say for an example, number 14 Clemson versus Virginia or something like that. Wow, that's crazy that might actually be Clemson's rank during the time of that game. I'm kind of weird, huh? But for example, Clemson versus Virginia, I won't watch a game like that. I won't see the nitty-gritty. ASU, I watch every single game. I watched every single game start to finish this year. Start to finish. Maybe the only game I didn't watch was the Cincinnati one because we just looked so bad without Sam Leavitt. We just looked so bad, and I knew going into that game it was going to be bad. But I watched pretty much every single game with Sam Leavitt, I guess you could say, with Sam Leavitt in start to finish. And I know the most about this team than any other college football fan that isn't a crazy psychopath about college football or an ASU diehard. I know everything about this team. It is very, very easy for me to pick ASU every single time because I know our strengths and I know our weaknesses. But sometimes you can't look at football like that. Sometimes things will happen in games that go incorrect for a certain team. And that's the lovely part about college football is you never know. You never know. And this is a game where this is an example of a game you'll never know. Nobody favored ASU over Kansas State. We won. We dominated, too. We kind of let him come back, but we dominated. This game, a lot of people thought this was going to be a coin flip. A lot of people thought this was going to be a coin flip. If anybody said ASU domination, I'm very proud of you. That's a great prediction. If anybody said Iowa State prediction or Iowa State domination, I hope you're doing okay right now. But most people could agree that this game was going to be a coin flip. It was going to be close. There was a lot of solid matchup. I mean, hell, they're one rank away from each other. Both teams have performed very well in the conference. And you look at how this finished, and it's like, dude, what? Well, like, ASU looks freaking vicious right now. ASU looks scary right now. Like, it's actually terrifying how scary ASU looks. They're just dominating. They're dominating left and right. Like, if you look at the games, yeah, some scores might be like a 10-point or a 5-point finish. But if you look at those games, ASU's pretty much been up like 21-0 every time. Or like against Kansas State, 21-0 at some point. Against, I think actually 24-0 even. Against BYU, 21-0 at a point. Against U of A, like 28-0 at a point. Maybe even 35-0. The only game that we didn't finally just like shut down a team at the start of the game was this one, but we just did it later, and we just shut them down to 19. And I mean, nine of those 19 came in shit time when the game was over, and ASU was just had our subs in. They were just putting on fart points. I mean, ASU was stopping them with I think our defensive starters, but like in shit time, and they're taking three. They're taking three to make it look like less of a beatdown. I don't know. And also, something about Iowa State, like, this head coach has brought you to 2 Big 12 championship appearances, but he's now lost 2. And I don't know how bad Iowa State lost to Oklahoma the year they played. I think it might have been icky, but he got dominated in this one. And, I mean, last time Iowa State was good, like last time they were in the Big 12 championship and they lost, they regressed. This time, I don't think they'll regress next season. I think they'll still be good, but they could regress. What happens to their head coach now? Because you got to question it. You got to question what's going to happen to the Iowa State head coach. Because if this is the path that he's going to lead them to, is a Big 12 title appearance, that quite frankly, Iowa State got really lucky that they even made it to this game. I mean, they lost 2 bad ones. They lost to Kansas, and then they lost at home to Texas Tech, which, like, those were bad losses. The Kansas one, understandable. Kansas got really hot. But the Texas Tech one was bad. Like, that in your home stadium, that one was bad. You can't lose to a 4-loss Texas Tech team in your home stadium, let alone in a low-scoring affair, when Texas Tech has let teams score a lot of points on them and they have a high-powered offense. Like, that team is offense only, really. And you lose a low-scoring affair. That was a bad loss. They needed BYU to collapse. They needed Colorado to collapse. And they needed ASU to literally, like, help them be a part of the, like, eliminate the teams. They eliminated Kansas State. They eliminated BYU. Iowa State got lucky they even made it to this game. In a situation like that, kind of makes me scared about my Penn State pick, because you want to talk about getting lucky about being in the game. Yeah. And, yeah, shout out Hyrule. Dude, yeah, this was a pretty bad week of predictions. I'm on a like 0-3 right now, as of right now. Hopefully Georgia can pull through for me, because if there was one game that I was most confident in, it would probably be the Georgia pick and then the UNLV pick second, which was wrong. But I'm still pretty confident in Georgia's ability. Like, the pick I'm definitely the least confident in was the Penn State. That's kind of a shot in the dark, because you got to take those sometimes. But the other ones, I mean, like, were relatively, like, I felt pretty good about. Obviously, I didn't feel good about this one because it's not my team. But, like, I don't know. Maybe I could go, like, what, 0 for 6? That would be a pretty bad way to finish off the year. But I'm happy with this outcome. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Very happy with this outcome. Let me know what you think about the games in the comments down below. Like and subscribe and help a comment. Always tells that's all for me. Adios.